This is the Platform Podcast with Bbad and Brandon.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, cool. I
You missed
up.
it. Might have to do it again.
No, that really hurt.
Welcome back to the Platform Podcast. We are your hosts, Brandon Greco and
Johnny Bbad.
And today we are welcoming back the COVID panel.
You two are really creepy.
I liked it better when you said triad.
Yeah, so I'll give you that was my clearing voice. We welcome back the COVID panel today, and we will... Why is that guy flashing? No one's flashing their lights. We are going to welcome Mr. Pete. I am the triad Baskerville. Welcome. Andrew. Peter, welcome.
Could Peter tell us the triad?
Hey, Pete.
Come on, Peter, tell us the triad story, just to start.
No.
Just lean into it.
You just
And to his left, we have... I squat 385 kilos, Mr. Andrew. I will fuck your mum, Laing.
Jesus Christ.
What? I thought that was really good. And then
don't introduce me. I don't want to be introduced.
But I got a good one.
Okay.
And then to Andrew's left, we have Dr. Paul. I like to wrestle with Johnny.
Well,
Welcome.
that's true. I love Johnny.
I know. See, it was a good one for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Pete. Pete was good.
Well,
Leader.
yeah, sort of.
He's like,
Pete wants it to move on.
We don't want to revisit that.
Triad's going to be pissed.
Got through that period.
yeah.
should we revisit that? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
So
That's good.
we have got you back on. Obviously, we are coming towards, hopefully, the end of the COVID pandemic and coming out of it. And obviously, at the start, right before everything got shut down, we timed that very well, actually.
Yeah, we're talking shut down on the Monday.
Yeah, shut down 2 days after we recorded it. We're going to get a bit talking about how things have changed, what's changed, what the future post-COVID are going to look like from obviously 3 different aspects of Dr. Paul's going to cover health in all aspects, business through Pete, our triad leader, and I'm just going to keep going it. And obviously
And
covering...
somewhere out there, like the NSA or somebody have got, they're just
yeah.
trawling the data,
It's all
going,
over.
triad hits.
And he's like,
they're now-
I've done so much work to cover
they're
my
now-
past now. This
they're now-
dickhead just unraveled
They're
it.
now Google searching it.
yeah.
And then Laing, you're going to cover grants, what the ATO have done for us, and all that type of stuff.
Oh, cool.
You know, you are Mr. Taxman.
Who's
Cool.
going to play Peter in the movie?
Oh, I can't wait for the movie to come
He
out.
was a
Pete.
good-looking guy back then too.
Brad Pitt.
Brad
Brad Pitt. I want to see a Brad Pitt. Maybe, I don't know, an up-and-coming, Zac Efron.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a good rendition.
There's a funny story about that, but I'll tell you about
What,
that.
you and Zac Efron?
No, about that. People will Google it. When I first worked for TAFE, they said, oh, with all the stuff you've done, you must be sort of in Google. You must be all over it. And I didn't know anything about searching for your name in Google, so I thought I'd better go and just check it. And I typed it in, and the #1 entry was the New South Wales Hansard talking about what a ratbag I was. This is the government's record in New South Wales about what a rat. And I thought, if TAFE actually do a search, I'm done for. So that prompted my whole writing online experience, because I said I have to bury this so that it's page 100. It can't be the #1 entry against my name, and that spawned my whole online, sharing information just to hide that one article.
All I've listened
Google.
You can still find it.
Yeah, let's
yeah.
Google
If you dig-
Peter,
if
and
you
then we'll
dig-
just
I'm
scroll.
back, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
I'm
podcast has now changed to just finding Pete.
So thanks for bringing that up. Thanks for sort of
Well,
exposing
actually,
I'm gonna go up on the-
that whole life that I've been trying to hide.
I just want to point out
that
that Pete actually brought it up. All I said was, I gave you a fancy new nickname.
okay.
Well then,
Anyway, post-COVID.
post-COVID, good segue, Pete.
Well played, Peter.
Yep. So,
What have you been doing?
what have I been doing?
Yeah.
Well, what happened to you first?
Well, we got
You
shut-
said the day after we did the podcast.
Yes,
on
so the
COVID.
day we did the podcast on the Saturday,
Yep.
Mr. 385 over in the middle there squatted that on the Sunday, and then that night was announced by...
The morning.
No, that was the
Oh,
night.
the night. Yeah.
There's that night.
Can you attach the footage of Andrew squatting that 385 on the, because that's
385.
people should
Yeah.
people should see that. That was
Magnificent.
A lot of steel moving around.
That was.
Yeah, that
Congratulations.
Hurt. That
That was
hurt a lot.
So you can now claim world's strongest accountant.
'Cause
Before
when-
you really couldn't.
Yeah, cool.
'Cause
I'm
when
gonna change my Instagram handle.
You should.
Yeah.
Game on Lang's terrible anyway.
It's a
It's a
there's a
gaming.
story behind it. No, it had nothing to do with that.
Oh.
Tell the
It
story.
was,
Can you tell the story?
It's a really short story. Basically, me and my wife were playing air hockey on a cruise ship, and it was all like, oh, it's Flip Healy versus Game on Lang, and it was just a whole fucking tournament thing. Like, I
Who
just
won?
got the name.
Yeah.
Shelley definitely kicked my ass repeatedly.
Yeah, look. we could
I'm
see
not
that.
good at sports at all. None of them.
I could have
Well,
told you that.
you're
Apart from
fantastically outstanding at sitting down and then standing up again
Yeah.
with huge amounts of steel on you.
Yeah.
That's
Just
a
not
sport.
picking them up when they're in front of me.
No.
I'm really bad at that. But if it's on my back,
Well,
I'm
you're
really
not
good.
terrible at that either. You're pretty good, pushing things away from you as well, Lang.
Yeah.
So
But
what's
we digress.
deadlifting 300
Yeah.
kilos?
Anyway,
We
back to
digress.
you guys.
272.
What happened? It's
270,
They
that's-
close you down.
Sorry.
Shut down.
That's a really lot of steel. So there are those.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
Well,
It's,
we've moved on.
He's going 272's not
Okay,
enough.
look,
and I'm going,
you guys have moved on. I haven't.
he just doesn't know
Lang's still hurting.
what the
still
rest of
hurts.
us, like 272.
So we were shut down on the Monday.
Yes.
We'll shut down the Monday.
At lunchtime.
Yep.
At lunchtime, which meant...
That was it.
Yeah, that was
Lock
pretty
the
much
doors.
it. Scrambled to try and find grey area in between. I had a few people reach out saying I could use their space in a one-on-one capacity because the rules were so grey. It was just, you just didn't know what line was drawn, where the line in the sand was, sorry. But I think I did that for about a week before more regulations came in and just shut everything down. Bit of a tough pill to swallow, but you have to kind of just accept that what it is, whatever the saying fucking thing is what it is, and yeah, it actually was kind of good though. I'm not really looking forward to going back.
So did you go on a sabbatical or something? Did you
No,
just...
I just fucking chilled at home. No,
Chilled at home. You're at Paul Pegler's all the time.
I was at start training for a little bit. There was a lot of resistance from me initially because I was like, what the fuck am I going to do for I don't know how long this is going to go on for. Set up my balcony gym. And yeah, I just didn't know what to do with myself for a little bit. And then just kind of accepted it and started working on the back end of the business. So everything that I said I didn't have enough time for when I was working, heavily with clients face to face, I did, and it actually worked out really well. Restructured the online, system and platform. Redid a few other things of how I'm going to go back and restructure it. Because what I've learned during this time is I don't need to spend all my time at the gym. There's life outside of it, and
Really?
I will fucking throw this microphone at you.
Sorry.
But it's been good, chilling out a little bit. Working for myself for the last 10 plus years. Finally caught up on a little bit of sleep that you lose.
You don't have to work so hard.
Yeah, well, see, that's the
You
thing.
never have to work so hard.
8 hours sleep's weird, eh?
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I feel so good of a morning? It just doesn't seem right. What about you? What have you been doing?
We shut the gym down, so that was tricky. That was super sad having to do that. And then once we sort of come to the grief of everything being shut down, Pete gave good advice, which was it's out of your control, so move on. You didn't.
Classic Pete.
You didn't fail, which was hard. I guess at the time we probably thought we were thinking we did fail, but that was pretty cool. Priority then was how do we help our clients. So
So if you're going, we failed then, are you giving yourself some plaudits for having survived and gone, came out the other side, victory, I'm a good bloke, I did this right?
yeah, I think so. Not
No,
yet, because I don't
you're
feel like
not.
we've made it there yet.
Yeah, no, you're not.
We'll see where we're at in 12 months, but I feel like we will be there, no doubt there.
It's a very hard call to make. Still, obviously we're coming to the end of it, but I understand what you're saying about you feel like you failed your clients. They want something, but you can't really deliver your service to its
100%.
capacity.
Yep.
But
So
fuck you both, you did. Excuse me, don't swear. You did.
I dropped the C-bomb on this. We're fine.
Okay.
The only person that's going to get angry is my mother.
Talk
yeah,
about
the cool thing was probably the adaptation that we did. Zoom coaching was or FaceTime or whatever you want to call it was huge for us.
You guys-
a lot
you
of
got
people
both
really
stood
got
up
on
and
board
just
that,
got-
which was unreal.
yeah.
We ran a lottery for all of our equipment, so one of the biggest things was man, we don't have enough equipment for everyone, so we just ran a lottery, and then that managed to piece out a good portion of our gear. So pretty much most of it, from reflection, like Paul did say, we did, I guess, do a good job. Most of our guys still managed to train in some capacity.
God, imagine giving
through this, which was nice.
Saying nice things about yourself. That might be the first time I have ever heard that.
You're a good person.
It's only been like 20 years, 15 years.
But I think that was one of the biggest things, is learning that you can adapt even in, like, obviously there's going to be worse circumstances. I'm not saying this was the worst thing ever, but, you know, met with, like, fuck, what are we going to do? And then all of a sudden you look at the back end, you're like, oh, maybe I did handle that well. So it's good to come and look at that. Obviously, a lot of clients messaging, you know, saying thank you for all the support that you have given us or whatever. And as Johnny said, like, learning new ways to coach and the Zoom adaptations and FaceTime and all that shit. But fuck me, I wish I had shares in Zoom and Netflix.
I know, I'll be keeping that.
Yeah.
I had heaps of people that... I've got a client who still wants to do it. He's like, I can't get to the gym at the moment. I'll just keep doing this.
Absolutely. I got a bunch of patients who just, they're like, you know, don't like going out, don't like doing stuff. Can we Zoom?
Yeah, and it adds a whole new dynamic to coaching now. Now people who necessarily couldn't get to the gym for whatever reason, who would typically miss a session now, no longer need to miss a session. Where are you? Cool, let's do it this way.
It's even revolutionised online coaching now. Like, instead of giving written feedback at the end of the week, you know, you can have real-time feedback, which is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be unreal.
But another thing that I think you got to understand what you're selling. I mean, a lot of you guys think that you're selling PT, but you're actually also selling discipline. You know, I mean, I engage Johnny because I know I'm not disciplined enough to do what I should do. And so even if it's in a virtual Johnny, it's still the discipline. Tuesday.
Absolutely.
If you look at, let's take our industry intentionally, a lot of people have gone under or failed or whatever fucking term you want to use, because they can't recognize what Pete said. We're not in the fitness industry. We're in the people business.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it's just about checking in with people. How's your training going? Which is probably the least priority on a lot of these people's list right now. Some people have lost their jobs and all that shit. But it means everything. It means long term that, you know, we still have a client, and we're not doing it from that mindset. We're doing it because we genuinely care about these human beings.
And back in the 70s, 80s, when I started doing... Well, the 80s when I started doing...
How old are you? 400. Far out. That's a pretty good for 400.
Yeah, 61.
It's almost how much Laing squatted.
Target for Laing, squat my age. I can't squat my age.
The thing's exciting, I think, for me moving forward is that opportunity forced upon us to shut down is you have to reopen, right? But when you get to reopen, you now get to choose how you reopen. So what is it that we've done in our business for so long that you don't want to do anymore?
And this is what you were talking...
What don't I like that personally I don't enjoy? 100%. What runs me into the ground? What makes me tired?
Yep.
How can I provide a better service for people that I already look after, and then adapt to the new world? So, you know, the biggest shock, the thing I absolutely realised is we can't just earn an income from coaching one-on-one. Like, that can't, or from a gym perspective, we just can't earn a membership money. Whilst it was super nice that all of our clients wanted to continue to pay us gym membership, whilst we were shut, you know, that's lovely, but that's only going to last so long. We need to have another revenue stream. So now moving forward, looking at those things is pretty exciting, I think, because that's forced change upon our business that's been necessary for a long time, but for whatever reason you just put it in your back pocket and either don't do it or you just put it back on the priority list and think, yeah, I'll get to that.
That's a good thing, because obviously, like, as I said before, you know, you spend so much time in the business working one-on-one, things go on the back burner. So now it's been a nice perspective to go, I don't need to work 60 hours with clients a week and then do all the other stuff. You know, there's a better way or a smarter way to do things. And, you know, if you use that for people who, like, I spent a lot of this time, I had two goals out of this, is to feel like I've progressed in my business, and at the end of COVID be 110 kilos. So.
And how much do you weigh?
I just weighed in at 106.5.
Yeah, you fucking did.
I was 93.7 before this shit happened.
I can't believe how the world changes and turns around. Because you get to my age, Pete's probably the same. We're like, I just got to lose weight. I can't eat that because, like,
I
have
fucking
a donut.
ate everything.
I put on about 2 kilos.
I'd love that.
I'm
just going to just shout out to Donut King, because I had 6 of their fucking cinnamon donuts yesterday. I paid for it. I shouldn't have eaten it, but they were fucking delicious.
I've been living with my son for the last week because my wife's in Sydney. And hello, everybody. And I've put on like 3 kilos of just by eating nice takeaways.
Sorry, who did you say hello to?
His wife did.
Oh.
Hello, darling.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Wait, are they
Because I
filming?
actually should be
Yeah,
in
we're
Sydney
filming.
now, but I stayed for this because I wanted to ask. So 110 kilos, and what's the dream? What's the next year?
He's going to be 140.
Yes, he is.
This is why we don't talk about my body weight in front of Johnny or how many kilos being lifted.
Right.
If you notice, okay, Laing will attest to this. With his own clients, and you, Pete, Dr. Paul, he's very smart, very technical, follows a plan. With my clients, it's put more weight on. Just go hard.
Yeah.
With my body weight, you'll be 140.
It does.
See?
Well,
You're very
that's
tall.
because you're a very good coach, very smart at what you do. So now he's pushing the other side of, just
Laing, don't
pure
encourage
direction.
him.
Just,
Don't encourage
this
him.
is where you need to go.
It's easy. He used to say to me, it's easy. You just pick it up.
Exactly
Just
right.
pick it up and put it down.
What do you think
There's something
future
beautiful in
business
that
would be?
simplicity, though.
No, I want to hear Brenda's. What's so? Talk about it. We're taking over. Like
We really got backfired.
Last
This
time,
is not our panel. The panel runs us.
Brando,
Yes.
110 kilos.
Yes.
Yeah, right. With those legs.
I know. Everyone, like, literally, where do you think I'm holding this, man? It's like, it's all in my pec and lats. One pec, not the other one.
The other
What are you
asset,
going to do?
Bench
with-
specialist.
What are you going to? What's the part B of the question? Was where are you going to be in a year? What are the plans?
For my 110 kilo-ness or
No.
the business?
your
For the
body
business,
weight.
yeah. So the business is actually,
Because I thought that could segue into P.
Yeah.
Not that I'm running things, but
no, it's pretty good because we're
doing
hopeless.
all right.
But you
in the same
kind of
place.
are.
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
You're doing good.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. You
They
should
put me in the middle.
Yeah, that means you're the best.
People shouldn't do that.
But no, in the next 12 months, so what I've done is restructure the online so it provides more value and hopefully cuts down the contact time that they need with me to answer some questions. So spend a lot of time on the back-end system to provide them. They can just open their phone, click on the app and go, here's how I need to perform this Bulgarian split squat, how my coach wants to do it. All the information will be stored so there's not, fucking around with emails and shit like that. The structure of coaching I'm going to go back to is going to be more based in more group coaching based for a couple, which is ironic because we need to social distance as well. But with the level of athletes coming through, they're hitting the stages like Pro Raw and the nationals. We're not just doing local meets anymore. So we need people around there to get, help with the monolift or that environment aspect. So. And I think that's what's going to bring people back to gyms. Like, everyone's got home equipment now.
By the way, if you were out there and you were selling weights for $8 a kilo, you are I'm not going to say...
A piece of shit.
You are a dick. A real dick. And you should
Piece
be
of
called
shit
out
dick.
as a
100%
profiteer
arsehole.
arsehole.
Got your back, Paul.
Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes,
On the other side of that, I reckon a lot of people are going to be able to pick up some really cheap gym equipment soon.
soon, in the next
Yeah.
3 to 6 months, because everyone's going to come back to the gym for the community aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, people.
100%.
Yeah.
The people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to... I kind of have been, but I can't wait to train with, everyone back in the gym one day again. It's just going to be... That's what our culture's based off.
but that's an asset that you built as well. Okay, you've got these physical assets, but you also have the network aspect. You've got that as an asset. That group dynamic or that group belonging is something that you've built over for Johnny 10, 11 years. But it's a real thing. It has value.
Yeah.
And that's what's held.
what you said at the last.
Yeah, but that's what's
time.
held
Yeah.
all this time.
Because-
And now when you turn the switch, it comes back.
Exactly.
Whereas other places that we're just dealing with a very transactional-based membership,
And if
that
you
you
think
come
you're
in and
selling
use
just
equipment.
PTs where people are going to fail.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Your network is- I think it's Jim Rohn that said
we
network
come
is
back
net worth.
here and stayed in contact because we really love you guys. I mean, that's the truth. And that's why you've got this great community. And that's what I was trying to tease out of you guys earlier with trying to get you to say something nice about yourself. The realisation there's a whole bunch of people who depend on you guys.
100%.
Absolutely.
And I think I don't know about Johnny would probably be the same, but it became very apparent how much people need training, but not just for the training. People
We need to come and see you guys and talk and be...
I need to see him all the time.
I need to see
and
you
be...
more often, yeah.
I
I'd
don't
love
need
to
to
see you
do
more often.
split Bulgarian squats anymore because
You should move in with me.
I need bastards make their clients do lunges and that sort of stuff.
We are bastards.
Yeah. So
But-
that's the key. That's what it's about. That's why, if you come to work because people like you, and want to see you and talk to you, I would have thought that's half your working day sorted.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
It's a good reason to get out of bed in the morning.
100%.
What do you see being important for business, Pete?
Yeah, I think you touched on it. I think
Would you like me to shut up?
I really digital was sort of there on the fringe. Now it's mainstream. You know, what's happened is that, you know, there's what we call a paradigm shift has taken place, where people have now not just played with digital and maybe we'll get into it one day. Now it's paramount to a central part of your success. And so, you know, whatever that digital means, whether it means recording instructions on how to do things or doing podcasts, yeah. Yeah, I mean, fantastic. This is where it's got to be.
Just a shout out to the Platform Podcast for their undying work during this time.
Number one platform.
Number one podcast on the platform.
Can you guys, number 32, is this number 32?
Oh, no, we're in the future, bro. 32.
This will probably be like 36, 34, 35, 34. I don't trust you anymore after that one issue. I'm going to trust you. This is a trust exercise. 34, this will be.
You guys are legends. I mean, 7,000.
Johnny is.
That's just
Johnny is a legend.
How many is it, Bob?
remarkable.
How many is it? 37?
Well, that's including the bonus episodes, but we don't really count those.
Are they not episodes?
No, they're bonus episodes.
Yeah, because on Star Trek Discovery, they don't count the shorts, the little ones that you
Yeah, see?
get on Netflix.
So
and
fuck you, Mr. 385.
But
Back
anyway,
to your
yeah,
home on Whore Island.
So digital
Jesus.
is, you know, we have to go there. We have to go there in pre-recorded stuff. We have to go there in virtual Zoom sessions. I know Gwen is talking about, you know, I like going to the gym, but if I can't make it to a gym session, I'm not going to try and rearrange the schedules. I'll just do it from home at a time that's convenient. So she's already in that mindset where she mightn't have taken it pre this whole thing. Now that we've all tried it, we're actually saying it's okay. You know, for a lot of us, it's we enjoy it more. So I think that the concept of digital now is something that you seriously need to be about. There isn't a business out there that shouldn't be into that. And one of the biggest digital things we have is your experience. You know, and this is what you guys are trying to capture in this situation here, but you have a wealth of experience. What we need to do, and every business needs to do, is unlock that and turn that into digital space, because there's a hungry world out there that are used now to operating in a digital space, learning in a digital space. We need to capture what you have and get it out there. You know, and even if that's, you know, and I think it's a Q&A thing. You know, I have a platform that I'm developing as well, and I find the easiest way to get that out of you guys who have got a wealth of experience is a Q&A session. Getting people to ask you questions which you respond to, and then you capture that.
The amount of Q&As now on, you know, Instagram Lives, Facebook Lives, all these free webinars, it's been unreal. And
it's brilliant. And the products you can create out of it, you know, out of 100%. That can be the video of doing it. Then you can send that off to someone for a couple of bucks and turn it to text. And then you can join text together and create an ebook. And then you create enough ebooks and you've got a course. And then you've got, you know, you've got so many revenue streams now in digital.
I hope
that's
everyone
where we need to go.
Just pauses the episode right now, rewinds and writes what he just said down, because like there's a business model.
But it's for everyone. It's
10% to Pete.
Yeah.
You know, one is a thing called a paradigm shift. One is a paradigm shift where the way we change the way of doing things. It's not a linear growth. It's not even exponential. We've actually changed the way we do things, and I see that in so many things. Education is the big one, and education now has been taken out of the hands of the institutions and put in the hands of people that are experts, and that's what people want to learn off. Who's the expert? Because I don't want to waste time on a piece of paper if it doesn't give me the underlying skill. You guys have got the skills, and all those businesses out there have that skill. And the other thing that I notice is that we've reached a critical mass. There's a thing in commerce called, you know, when you're selling something and you're selling it to the fringe, you can never really get what economies of scale, because there's so few people actually doing it, that once something gets to critical mass, you've got enough people now that investment starts to follow. And I think things like online learning and this sort of areas and digitising what you guys have has reached a critical mass. It's now on. It's game on. And you watch the investment flow into it, and you watch the technologies that will be produced. to help you do that. And so, you know, all of us should be saying, okay, I've got this expertise, I've got this stuff that I know a lot about. How can I package that and commercialise it? And the beautiful thing about digital stuff is that you don't have to make a lot of money. You know, when you're selling your time one-on-one, you've got to sell it at a reasonable price, otherwise you won't live. But when you're in a digital space, you know, $1, who cares? Because it's $1 to 4 billion people, you know, who might want that. Maybe they don't all want it, but you said, you did the numbers before about how a small amount of dollars on a big market is an awful lot of profit, you know. So, and look, you won't attract everyone, but there is a market out there for your stuff. We were running through before all those people that watch your podcast. Not everyone in the world is watching your podcast, but you will meet a market for something. And you don't sit there and say, oh, someone else is doing that. Doesn't matter. Everyone sells cans of Coke, but they all make money out of it. You don't not offer cans of Coke because the 3 shops around you sell cans of Coke. You still do it because yours is the most convenient can of Coke. And for you guys, it might be the most convenient because people like the way you explain things. They might know of you as a friend. They've already discovered you and they don't want to change to someone else. So you are the most convenient source of information on PT or strengths or life living or coaching. And we need to capture that, you know. And I think it's got to be central to your business model. You know, like Johnny said before, diversification is what everyone's yelling now. Stop being just a one-stop retailer. Now you have to be a retailer plus an online retailer. Maybe you have to provide instructions and all this sort of stuff. So diversification is a big word that's being thrown around in a post-COVID world. You can't just rely on one. And you know, even if your mix is some paid employment in there, you know, where someone will pick you up for a few hours a week, you know, even if that's in part of the mix, that's fine. That's just how we're going to have to diversify. Maybe there's a bit of Uber in there, you know, maybe there's a bit of one-on-one stuff. Who knows? But, you know, that concept of diversifying your portfolio and certainly getting out of everything that relates to fixed costs. Fixed costs is such a frightening thing. That sort of concept of rent where it lands on you regardless is just, you know, we've got to find other models where we're paying our costs on a variable basis, not on a fixed
You make a
basis,
good point there too, Pete. Like if we look at...
Anyway, that's it. I've done
that.
my
You're
bit.
done? All right, you're off.
How do you do
I
it?
can go home.
How do you do that? How do you do...
How much prep
What's that?
time did you put into
I'm
this?
just saying you've got to find a way out of it. And I think there's a lot of people that are trying to find a way out of that, you know, where you know, and the digital space offers an option out of that. I mean, even people, freelancing is going to be huge now, you know, where you actually offer your services to the world. That's what I say, it's reached a critical mass now, that you're now employable by anyone else in the world because people are employing people based on their digital profile and their digital skills.
You make a good point about the fixed cost. Like, I don't know how many stories you guys have heard, but I've heard many stories of landlords not helping, you know, tenants out in business scenarios and like not helping, you know, meet reductions in rent or whatever it is. Like that's going to turn a lot of people away from having a brick and mortar business, and it's going to push more people into the online space. And I think this is where, like, you know, Dr. Paul asked how, is like, well, I think it comes down to learning the same way you'd learn how to squat. You go find someone who's already done it. You know, go out there. There's plenty of people who already have established online businesses, and you know you can learn a thing or two off them.
I mean, the reality is that I've got a fair few clients that are thinking the same way. Like it's they start going, well, why do we need an office? Why do we need X, Y, Z? It's a bit different with the gym, you know. Like obviously the PT can be either or, but obviously for a gym people need equipment. But say the business my wife works for, and many businesses I've worked for or with in the past, you know, always resisted digital and people working from home and all that sort of stuff. But the reality is when they had to, within 3 days they had an infrastructure that people were able to log in and do their entire job from home. And the reality is that, again, another business, I'm not going to name names because they're big enough that I'm scared of them.
It's Johnny. He's big enough. No, you're not.
Not that
No.
sort of big.
No, never
But
been big
the reality is that they're saying, well, do we renew our leases? We don't see the point because we've had all these people working from home. The reality is they're happier because they're not wasting 2 hours each day traveling. They can see their kids more, or they're working a little bit more and being more productive. You know, a lot of people are healthier because they're not buying takeaway from work. They're eating food from home. And all those sorts of things are happening, and people are going, well, why don't we just let people work from home? Even if we lose a little bit of productivity, we're not fucking paying rent. And rent is often the one that kills businesses. Like, we always throw around stats when we talk to our clients and all that sort of stuff about how much rent should be compared to income and all those sorts of things. But it usually is one of the biggest costs besides employees, or sometimes as much as paying your employees. What if you could take out, 10, 20, 30% of your costs because you're not paying a landlord? But then I feel for landlords as well, because I've been in a few negotiations.
There's a flow-on effect from everything now, isn't there?
I know.
Like, even if you said they're not buying takeaway from home. Imagine a local business that, all the tenants don't come back to, and a takeaway outlet, and then suddenly they have to close down. Like, there is a flow-on effect from all of this.
There is.
But even, we look at the things that did well in this COVID period. Netflix shares increased by like 30%. Zoom sign-ups and everything went up like 40%.
But they got in a bit of trouble too.
And then fucking Uber Eats. Like, how much would they have pumped out during this time?
I spent a bit on Uber Eats, I'll admit.
We can tell.
I would not want to own commercial property at the moment.
Yeah. Like, and that's what I mean.
Mind you, shout out to my landlord. He was great. I called him up, mate, I don't know what's going to happen. What could we do? And he's like, literally, just give me a call and tell me what you can do. And that was the whole conversation. There was no, you have to do at least 24. And this is before all the code, I can't remember what it's called, but the commercial tenancies code or whatever it was came out. He was just, what can we do? And was happy to have the conversation. Whereas there's some that we've dealt with that have just been, nope, pay your rent or get out.
And that's what's going to really, like, those stories are going to come out more and more. And, I was listening to the news today for the first time in years. And I think, like, not talking businesses, but like the residential tenancy agency of Queensland, whatever, they had 28,000 calls during this COVID period to deal with landlord issues. Like, can you imagine that on a commercial setting? Like, that's the, it's reality that some people just weren't coming to the party. So it's going to push a lot of people away and push them more towards the online space. And it's funny, though, because as you said, Laing, businesses were so against letting people work from home and having these online things. But within 3 days, or even a couple of days, we had systems in place. And we were only forced to do it because of this. So in disguise, like, once we get over the initial grief of and all the bullshit coming out of it, like, we'll look at this and go, this was the best fucking thing that's happened to a lot of businesses. It's forced us things in a different perspective, through a different lens. Like, look at the impact it's had on our businesses, and hopefully they're good when we go back. Shout out to going back to the gym on Monday.
But that's one of those critical mass things, is that work from home. It was always a very fringe thing. It was very exotic that you worked for Google and you could work from home. And even Google didn't do that. But they've actually, they have huge complexes. And now they're just saying, we just get as much productivity with no one there. So, like you say, commercial space is going to have to transform into residential or something. But that work from home now is so critical mass that I don't think you'll attract good staff that you don't offer that. They don't want to do it 100%, but it has to be written into the contract that I have the opportunity to work from home, 2 or 3 days or whatever it is. If you don't offer that as an employer, you're not going to get your best employees. I mean, if you've got kids, there are times when you're desperate to go to work to talk to another adult human being. You still need to do that.
Who's not a parent. But there are times when the kids are sick, or they're a bit off colour, or they're home from school, and you just can't go to work because you've got to look after the kids. If you've got a computer set up, you can do that.
The other problem we've got, because COVID's going to be with us for quite a while, most of the people are saying, get used to this. This is our way of life, not till Christmas, but, vaccines are, if they are good, it's probably a year or 2 years off.
Yeah, can I say, COVID's here forever, and the pandemic hasn't gone away. We got COVID, and there may be more pandemics. The social distancing, washing your hands, all that sort of stuff, has to keep going. There will be outbreaks. There will be spot fires, inevitably. I think all of the cases in Australia now are from either overseas or linked to an overseas person coming back, which is good, but that means that going overseas is a bit of a problem if we're not going to somewhere that's obliterated it like we have.
Well, we're not going to the US anytime soon.
We're not going to the US, but we don't like Donald
lots of
Trump.
reasons.
So yeah,
I'm just
for
gonna
lots
say
of
COVID
reasons.
for now. But
So the vaccine, it's a long way away. It's at least, if everything fell in place, it would be at least 12 to 14 months away. And so the last time I looked, which was yesterday, there are 11 vaccines that are in the early trials. So they're the phase 2 human health trials. So they've been shown to give a response in animals and to COVID antibodies. That's great. The next thing is to see whether it kills humans or not. So they've given it to a few humans. Nobody's died. Nobody's dreadful side effects. We don't know whether there's any. We've done that to people. They've done that to people.
We're going to give it to Laing. If his body can resist it, then we know he's got a gene that can make us all squat 385 and resist COVID.
I think that's how this League of Superheroes happened.
I'm pretty sure that's how Captain America was made. But
Yeah.
hey, I'm not going to... We're going to stay on topic and not get me excited by saying Captain America.
He does look.
how do you feel about Captain America, Brando?
He's the greatest hero ever.
Oh, cool. Why?
We're staying on topic, Andrew.
Could you please illustrate more?
Dr. Paul, continue.
No. I don't know. So that's good, but the actual trials, there might be one out of the, start with 100, you'll end up with one. Start with 100 at a drug company in development, you might end up with one that's sellable at the end, but the proper long-term human trials, even if they expedite it and push it through 12, 14 months, and, when you rush science, things go wrong.
Yeah, this is not something we want to rush. We don't want to be back in this situation. But even like, as you said, the social distancing is going to be around, the washing their hands, but that's going to affect a lot of other things. Like I think we just looked at the influenza rates for this year,
Yes.
and they're down dramatically. And,
Yes.
And that's
so they've gone from 5,000 to 7,000 a month for January, February, March. April, there were 292 cases of influenza in Australia, just obliterated. I think it was March. What are we up to? June. There were 18,000 this time last year, and there's about 3. So
it's just crazy to think that washing your hands, something we've always said, but washing your hands is just not getting too close to people.
Fuckers haven't been washing their hands.
Yeah.
That'd be like
this.
people staying away from each other and all that sort of stuff as well.
As we spoke before, we've all been pioneers of social distancing because we hate people.
I love
I'd
people.
like to say I've usually washed my hands a lot too.
I wash my hands, I would like to say,
there are studies, of course,
unless it's
in
Lang's
England
hand I'm shaking.
because you can work out, you go to the toilet, you put your hands under the infrared and it pours water on it. So they can work out how many people have gone to the toilet per flush and how many people have washed their hands. And for men, it's about 1 in 3 using commercial toilets. 1 in 3. 2 dirty
Which
buggers
means-
don't.
Wait, do or don't
1 in 3 do
wash their hands.
wash their hands.
So that means 2 of the blokes in this room right now have not washed their hands. I'm looking at Laing and
Not
Jason.
now.
Where's Jason?
Oh yeah, go
But
after the rangers.
the
I was
thing
going to
about-
say that's...
The thing about what you're talking about in this fixed space again is we're going to have to completely remodel. We're going to have to. We've been using open plan. Most businesses like our place is all open plan. That's not on anymore. It's now back to cubicles.
Open plans don't work anyway. They're awful, bloody,
Yeah.
in dickhead management
not only that-
inventions. Sorry.
So
Dr.
not only
Paul,
that,
tell
it's
us how you
handled.
really feel.
Every study of open plan
now this
ever
is a
done.
landlord problem. The landlords are going to have to invest in voice-activated doors, or being able to open things and make things work without touching with our hands.
They're called automatic doors.
Yeah.
They've been around for a while.
But I mean, if you're trying to
Go
lock
to
a door,
Trapezoid,
if you're trying to lock a door, you've got to have some other activation rather than having to, key it or whatever. But and they're even talking about toilets. We just can't have shared spaces like we've had before with toilets. So if a landlord's looking at a commercial property, for someone to come and rent that, they've got a big investment. If you've got a business and you've got another 10 years on your lease, you're going to have to spend an awful lot of money there. These are the changes that are happening. And not only that, you've got 7,000 people into a building. I think Hewlett Packard or someone was talking about that. How are you going to get them up? You can only have 2 people at a time in the lift now. to keep social distancing, they're going to be lined up down the street waiting to get into their building.
Stairs, Peter.
Yeah,
Stairs.
but what if it's a 30-story building? This sort of stuff. So
Laing,
there's great.
Laing
Does Laing look
laughs
like
at 30-story buildings?
No, he doesn't.
Laing, you don't build a physique like Laing by walking stairs, Pete.
But these are now the disruptions that are going to come out of it. But I agree with you that if we play it right and we become very innovative and become very creative, we actually may come out of this much better, much smarter. We've finally now adapted a really good model, which is that digital model for so many things that we used to do, like conferences now. Just will probably be a thing of the past. Maybe every now and again, every 3 years, you might have a conference, but a physical one. But they've transitioned. So that's just saved so much money for companies to be able to do that. And
not if you own a conference centre.
Not if you own a conference centre. Yeah. Sadly, there are winners and losers in this. There's no doubt about that. And my son, who's in the liquidation business, he's qualified. He's not yet. Funnily enough, it's not happening yet. Yeah. And they're all saying until September. And you made that point. Most businesses will hold on because of the government support with JobKeeper and these sorts of programs.
And no one can force them into liquidation at the moment. Either.
Yeah, and you can't do it anyway. You actually can't force someone into liquidation now. They've changed the laws. It's like instead of 21 days you have to reply, you've got 6 months to reply to any liquidation notice. So the government's actually stopped that. But when that time's over, they're predicting probably the January to March next year. They just say the floodgates will open. And they've got things like a third of hospitality, tourist businesses just won't reopen, or they'll go belly up in that period.
Hospitality, events, they've got to take a
sadly,
big
the
hit.
arts and that sort of place, like those sort of businesses.
But like even going to the movies now is going to change.
Yeah.
You just go for, whatever new movie just came out, let's go see it. Well, that's going to change now. We're going to have limited seats. We're going to have to socially distance. And obviously being that air-conditioned place, obviously that recycled air, whatever that shit is, I don't really understand it. But
Bring back the drive-in.
Fuck it. Let's go. Bring back the drive-in.
They've said the drive-ins will probably come back. I was around when the last
the Yatla drive-in's still operating.
No, but didn't they open one
there's
at
a
Rothwell
drive-in.
or something?
At what? Rothwell?
Yeah?
I don't know.
Did I dream that?
If you look on Facebook at the moment, is a drive-in film festival in Brisbane.
That'd be a Yatla.
True.
Maybe.
I do know the Yatla just played Dirty Dancing and I wanted to go watch it. You haven't seen it, have you?
No.
It's only been
and then
out
people are
20
going to
years
want
or
to. People are going to go to buy
Just quickly round the table.
sedans and
Have you seen Dirty Dancing, Pete?
Yeah. I think
Sandman
it's on
panel
the TV
vans will be
now.
back.
Is it?
Andrew, have you seen Dirty Dancing?
Yes.
Dr. Paul, have you seen Dirty Dancing?
Yes.
No.
Paul, Johnny,
No.
you need to see it. Anyway,
Yeah.
we digress again because we're good at that.
What help out is there for us, Mr. Laing, for the tax and stuff? What do you see happening? JobKeeper, Seeker,
how
all
long's
those
the
things, are they
JobKeeper?
going to kick along till September?
And are you
But
happy
do
with what
think
the
they'll-
government's done?
Do you think they'll disappear sooner than what they think?
I suspect JobKeeper's going to disappear soon.
Is it true
Just
that a lot
because
of
everyone's going to be reopening.
But is it
altogether.
true that a lot of people were creating false companies?
False companies, no. I think what you're talking about is zombie companies.
Yeah.
And that's basically something that should never have been there or was looking to close, but they only keep it open just so that they get JobKeeper.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of dodgy shit happening around here. Like I had a client call up, well, the ATO called them saying, "You've claimed JobKeeper. Your previous employer also claimed JobKeeper." And it's like, but I haven't worked there for months. And they still
in the
put it
book.
through. Yeah, because they've never put through a termination. And like that's illegal. They had to sign a nomination to do that. So that's an easy one to fix. I suspect it's going to go earlier just because the only reason to keep it open would be to help stimulate the economy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The only one that they've really brought out to do that is the construction one, which is copping a lot of shit at the moment.
In what way?
Well, everyone's going, oh, you know, it only benefits the super rich and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, not really, because it's kind of telling people, hey, go build a house, which is construction jobs, which is generally people keeping their jobs. And it just means that construction companies are less likely to fall over. And construction companies tend to fall over. I think it's you might know the stats on this, 51% of the economy is construction.
No,
Something
it's
like
big.
that in Queensland. Like, it's massive. And people are going, oh, you know, we're just going to... Why do construction companies get this stimulus? It's like, well, it's not. It's people who earn under 200K combined as a couple, building a house that's still less than 750K. Like, this isn't super rich people. These are people who would be looking at building a house, and they're still fairly middle-class people. So that one's kind of annoyed me that people have jumped on that, if you can't tell.
We actually couldn't. You stayed pretty calm.
Oh, fuck, all right, cool. Yeah, I've been complaining about that all day. But yeah, like, they're the kind of... I can only suspect that JobKeeper will stay on to keep that going. But yeah, like, it's...
But there's the withholding tax as well, isn't there? The PAYG withholding. People didn't have to really pay that for their employees for the last quarter.
Yeah, so...
and they get next quarter as well.
Yeah,
they don't have to pay it.
The PAYG cash boost was pretty good. Kind of paid quite a few people's basses, particularly on the lower end. Some people who only had, you know, one employee then suddenly got a refund into their bank account because the 10 grand paid for their entire bass, and then they got a refund.
I didn't get that.
You don't have an employee.
No, you don't. You guys
Come
don't
on,
have
Laing.
employees.
Be
You
that
have to be
dodgy accountant
registered
guy.
for GST to get that.
He's my accountant, so I'm just going to blame him.
Yeah, just blame me. It's fine. I'm kind of used to it.
But they've got all that in there. But there is one more happening in June. The June.
Yeah,
period
there's the
as well.
June one and then the
Yeah.
September one.
Oh right.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
government
And July
support.
and August? Or just June then straight?
It depends.
quarterly.
If you pay
Oh, yeah.
monthly PAYG, you'd get a monthly amount.
He got it in the end.
yeah, got it. Good pick up. Thanks.
What was that?
He
All
got
good.
that it was
It's all
quarterly.
Okay,
As
cool.
well. Continue.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you.
Wait, just real quickly, who was the guest? What was her name before we got these guys on? We just had her.
Yeah, I know that, and you're trying to fuck with me. So
Jason,
as you were,
Jason, what did Johnny call Xenia?
Xenia. That's correct.
What do you call her, Jason? Xena.
Perfect.
I know. I love this guy.
The other thing that's happening at the moment is people can... Like, has everyone heard of instant asset write-off?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So claiming depreciation in one hit. A lot of companies can claim 150K for this tax season, which is good for people that are going, we need more equipment or we need those sorts of things. And yes, there's people that don't have the money to do it, but if you're in a position that you were about to and you had the money to do it, at least you're not going to have a bigger, like, it brings your tax bill down. And that's kind of what we've been focused on with people lately, trying to look at their tax bills, because obviously they're going to be due in the next, 6 to 12 months.
But you've got to have a tax bill, tax due this year for that to be valuable, surely. If
What do you
you're
mean?
already not making, if you're not paying tax this year, if you're not making money,
Yeah.
then that really doesn't help. And maybe it carries forward.
Yeah,
to the
the
next,
loss would carry forward.
Okay.
So there is a benefit there. But really, it's more for the people that are going, let's say for these guys, for example, if they're Johnny was about to get 4 new monos for whatever reason, he'd be able to claim them all on tax in one go.
So it just wipes out your tax bill for the,
Yeah.
for the year, and you end up with 4 assets.
one.
Yeah.
Exactly. But obviously, there's the whole, you don't spend money just to save tax because you only get about a third back. But it's more for those people that are going, well, I was about to do it anyway. And it means that I don't have to pay as much tax now, which means I can invest in my employees or my clients or so on and so forth.
Cool.
Sorry,
I
that
just
went
want
off
to
on
give a big
tangent.
shout out to Andrew Laing. Probably the only person that's a lie, there's a lot of people, but one of the people that has worked endlessly during this COVID period, 16-hour days, 7 days a week. So big shout out to you, Laing.
And been there to help anyone.
Exactly. Like
Regardless
you've done
if they were client or not.
Exactly. You've done an exceptional job, and you probably don't give yourself enough recognition for it, so I will. Well done.
Thank you.
That's the only compliment you're going to get from me this whole year now.
Do you want a compliment from me?
No.
Okay, cool.
The other thing,
I have one ready.
the other thing industry are telling us about what's spiked is cybercrime, because we've all moved into cloud-based stuff, because we've all now doing stuff online and these are companies saving documents to sort of platforms that are so easily to get that stuff from. So the cybercrime stuff and they're getting really sophisticated because now they've reached critical mass. Because we've reached critical mass of digital and the safeguards aren't all in there, that they're seeing a big spike in that. So if you've got a chance to just try and be safe online, find out what those things are about, making sure you're in a safe space, safe encrypted space. So the cyber side of it has become pretty bad too.
Well, that's lately. With everything though. Escalation creates escalation.
Yeah, it creates opportunity.
I think the scary ones with those is like the hostage ones. Where they kind of go, we've got your computer as a hostage.
Yeah.
Like, how shit would that be? It's like, turn the computer on to go to work and my computer's being held hostage. So it's like, oh, shit, sorry, guys, I can't show up to work
That's
today.
actually like cyber hostage, whatever, for ransom.
Ransomware.
I did not actually know that was a real thing, but it's happened to the company my old man works for. He's a courier. Done it twice.
Yeah.
It's like, you think you'd fucking learn from the first one. But no.
Nah.
What can we see mental health-wise coming out of this?
Nobody really knows because we haven't done this before like this. I think in terms of problems, the increase in domestic violence has clearly been a big issue and lots of reporting of that. Don't hit your loved one. How hard is that? But obviously it's hard. And I think that's got a bit more notice and that will carry through. So a lot of the shelters that Tony Abbott shut down are getting opened back up again, and that's probably a good thing. The issues around suicide have had a run in the media. I'm never quite sure whether that's a good thing or not, but that might increase. There are some studies that were done around Australia looking at the response with suicide in the Spanish flu and then a couple of other epidemics, and it might have been the global financial crisis where things got a bit worse afterwards temporarily. So there's a worry about that, and you might have seen that there's now a chief health officer who is a psychiatrist and is looking into that stuff. There's a bit more money floating around from the government for some of the tele facilities for mental health.
I know a lot of the government stepped in and subsidised a lot of appointments, like payments.
Yeah.
Like I know a few of my psych appointments were actually bulk billed.
Yeah.
Which was good.
So
using telehealth.
Yeah.
Telehealth or even face to face. Like if through like obviously loss of income, if you job loss or just income has dropped. So it was good. Like I shout out, thanks government.
And there was some stuff around that if you wanted to claim it for that, then you had to bulk bill, which is I think is a good idea. So a whole lot of access stuff became much easier. And I was saying to Peter earlier, there are some people for whom this is just going to be an absolute godsend because they couldn't get to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist or the doctor because they couldn't get out of the house. I mean, I've got a bunch of people who look after, fairly disabled, care for fairly disabled people, and they just can't get out of the house. So being able to use Zoom or Microsoft or Teams, which are the two we've been using, has been a real eye-opener for some people. And as Peter said, it's been a push to get people to develop the skills to use that stuff because it's a bit scary. I don't know.
It is a bit scary, but it's like, can you imagine if we didn't have these platforms before this hit? Imagine if we didn't have Zoom. Imagine if we weren't able just to pick up and video call and all that shit. Like we're very, I guess luck's probably the best word to use, that, we had all these things that we just needed to have the push to finally use.
Peter and I were alive when they didn't have mobile phones. When they didn't have mobile phones. So,
Yeah, bro.
Do you think there would have been less adherence to all the rules if we couldn't see people, though? Because I know, like, my kids always, you know, call nanny, call mummy, or not mummy, call papa, all the people that he wants to see. And because of that, we're able to call them, so he's happy, and we still want to see them, like, face to face and have dinner and all that sort of stuff.
I think it's helped social morale. But I think if you wind the clock back, time back, whatever, how long before, I think
social distancing worked pretty well for the Spanish flu. So
I think we would have
1918,
done it.
yeah.
No matter what, it's, I think Dr. Paul was saying before, the number one thing we wanted to reduce during this time was death. That was the main priority. And, no matter what day and age, technology or not, I think we still would have adhered to the rules because...
Less death is better.
Less death is better.
That's the right amount.
Well, the joke is economically, it's better.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
especially
It's not-
like...
you can make an economic argument for
not being
the cost.
dead. Absolutely.
No, well, the cost of that, because it's not
Absolutely.
just the person that's deceased; it's obviously their family and their employer, and so it's an economic argument to stop people from dying, as well as obviously a moral one.
Don't pay any taxes when you're dead.
No,
That's a good one. I
that's
don't have to
true.
pay my hex check back.
That's true.
But you're not earning, so you're not paying taxes, but
You're
the
also
people
not
who are
earning
left
money.
behind aren't as productive as they might have been because they're
Correct.
grieving for you.
Correct.
So that takes, they've got to go to the funeral. That's a couple of days off. So Peter's right. I mean, it's an economic argument.
They've calculated an economic value of someone's life.
They will. Yeah.
No, they have.
probably.
They have,
okay.
yeah.
What's the number?
It's in the. I'm pretty sure it's in the millions or early, late
millions.
100,000s or something like
No,
that.
It was a bit
Millions,
embarrassing.
millions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was
it's
a bit
a-
embarrassing because if you were a middle-class white American, you were worth a lot more than if you were a Bangladeshi farmer.
Yeah.
And everybody went,
Well, not
"Oh,
anymore. Not
that's
anymore."
That's a bother. And
See,
stop researching that.
Yeah,
because-
I get how statistics can make things look really bad, but that's like when someone calculates it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But then if you see that, how do you fix it? Oh, sorry, this is a whole other.
That's-
Yeah, sorry. As soon as I
Do
said
we
that, I'm
have
like,
the time for this
I
conversation?
have an answer to that question, but it's a really long one.
We'll come back with another
I've got some opinions
Exactly.
as well, but it's
We'll
fine.
do a post-COVID.
post.
So ask us your question. Come on, ask the questions.
What are you doing after COVID now?
What do you mean? We had the 10
That's
questions?
my
Come.
question. That's my
Back at
question for
work.
each of you. Back to work. Is it going back to work as it
didn't
used
stop.
to be?
No. We'll do a lot more telehealth, teleconferencing. Absolutely.
And for you, you'll be able to reach more people, like you said,
Yeah.
and potentially people you couldn't have reached before,
Yeah, that's the
particularly
hope.
with the remote communities you work with.
Yeah. Yep.
Which
There'll
has
be
gotta
some
be
people
sweet.
for whom it's a better thing. I mean, people still are going to want to see doctors face to face. Fantastic. That's good. I like to see people face to face too, but there are some where it's going to be more flexible and things are going to be a bit easier. Absolutely.
What about you, Laing? How's it changed accounting for you?
The reality is we've moved to a lot more Zoom meetings and a lot of that stuff, which is making us a lot more productive. Not having to travel as much is helpful.
Yep.
Because largely I was going to people's workplaces and I'd only be able to do 3 or 4 meetings a day, whereas now I can do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once again, we were fairly along the digital route, but we've now been pushed to be a hell of a lot more. I couldn't just be in the office going, oh, where's this trust deed? I need to look at something for the client. So now we have a heap of admin staff that I've hired recently to be like, scan everything. So when I need to look at a trust deed, I can. Or when a client needs it, we can just give it to them. So we're becoming faster. And I think from a business point of view, it means that we're going to be able to give answers quicker and be able to make decisions at a real time with real-time financial information, which, once again, the infrastructure's been there with software like Xero and all that sort of stuff, but I think we're now, because we'll be sitting in front of the computer a hell of a lot more, we have an opportunity to keep it up to date so that when a client calls, we can go, well, as of right now, you've had this much sales. What do you want to do? As opposed to, well, last month you did this and you're about halfway through the month, so you probably got about 10 grand there, And there'll be a lot less guessing and a lot more real-time decision making.
Yeah. It's good. What about you, Peter?
Yeah, I think education's changed. I think and I don't think it's online education is what we're doing. We're doing more virtual, I guess, virtual learning.
PeterBaskerville.com. Go learn there. Oh yeah.
No, I'm just saying for TAFE.
Google search it.
And you know, I've said this at work. There's a couple of things that'll change for us. Is that probably a 50-50 split. We'll do some face-to-face, but we'll do at least half the time virtually, because we're figuring out the skills of delivering learning on that platform. But the other thing I've created accessibility for my students, because I have a booking app now, and they can book appointment time, because it's not me having to physically be at a place, because they just
that helps,
book,
doesn't it?
They book the 15 minutes. I say, I've got to talk to that student. So I'm more accessible to my students than I was before. Before you had to book a meeting and I had to meet you at South Bank, all too hard for everyone. Now it's just 15 minutes. I just sit in front of the monitor and away we go. So there's that. But just a short plug. But I also I've been working some
Put it in the
time.
show notes.
Yeah, find Peter after your Google search.
Consulting.
Type in.
Put your Calendly
We've
link
created
up
a thing
there.
called the Industry Professor Association, myself and my brother, and we do what I just said before about helping people convert what they obviously have in experience and convert that into digital learning products, which is benefiting people at the other end, but also finding an income stream for the person that's able to do that.
We will talk after this, Pete.
And that's our specialty, and then we know how to do that. You know, we are educators, instructional designers, and we can then know, and we're also digital players. We know how to do that, and then and you set yourself up for that monetization of your expertise. And a lot of people say, but there's already a masterclass by someone in the States. Yeah, but there's a market for everyone. You know, and the thing is, you don't know who's going to buy your product, and you won't know until you put it out there. You know, like you guys are doing with this podcast. You know, you just put it out there, see what happens. You know, some of it works, some of it
That's
doesn't.
pretty much how we also run our lives. to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. That's fine. That's fine. That's this whole idea of trial and error is where we are now. You know, if you're not we're now constant newbies. There are no experts anymore, because the world is changing so quickly under us that if you're not a constant newbie, if you're not newbie to Zoom, newbie to cloud software, if you're not a newbie to digital space, video technology, yeah, we're going to have to keep doing. Learning new things, you know. So this whole idea of I did something 20 years ago and here is my piece of paper, forget it. You know, if it's not current, if it's not now, if you haven't been experimenting and finding what works for you now, then it's probably, you know, you're probably not in the real world, you know. So anyway, so it's changed a lot for us. There's still a little bit of the old, but there's an awful lot of the new, and it's most of the new is that digital space, access to our students. Like you say, I've actually got to set up a video. I used to be a teacher, and then I became a facilitator, and now I'm a content developer. That's how I've transitioned. So I see my job now as a content creator. So when I give a talk now, I film it, create it into a thing, put it up online, because I'm capturing then my expertise as I'm going along. You know, and you know, when you interview clients, you should have that thing on you. Get rid of the client's name, and you've got yourself content that could go up online, create an audience, then you've got all the monetizations that come off that, you know. So we've all got to become content creators now. That's how the world has tripped into now. We get all of our learning online now. That's where we've gone, you know. And the learning that they want is skills. They don't want pieces of paper. You know, they still exist, I understand that. But people want to know, I need this skill now to do what I need to do. You know, you might have a degree in communications, but if that didn't teach you how to do Zoom, what a waste of time it is in this age. You know, you need to have Zoom skills, not necessarily a degree in communications.
So I find degrees really funny, because I was talking to one of my staff the other day, and we were talking about, because I want him to do his qualification and whatever it is. And then he's like, I've never heard anyone ask you for yours. And I'm like, thinking about it, I'm like, no one's ever said, hey mate, can you show me your degree? Or your CPA membership, or your registered tax agent license, or anything like that? No, it's not. It's
So what you're saying is you're not actually an accountant.
And it's packaged up. Shut up. And it is sitting in our spare room right now.
Because they employ you for
I've
your
never put them
skills.
up.
They employ you because you produce results.
No, because they believe my website.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
it says I can help you.
So before we
right.
head into
We
the
better
10
we're
questions,
getting hungry.
before we head into the 10 questions,
I haven't asked you what you're doing yet.
we already discussed that.
After this.
Yeah, we just discussed that. Yeah. What are you doing?
Me? Oh, diversification, baby.
Yeah, we discussed that at the start.
Yeah, we covered that already.
Yeah. But yeah, so for everyone listening, whoever wants to go back through this podcast and count how many times Andrew Laing says the phrase, well, the reality is, if they get the answer correct, they will get a free platform t-shirt.
Do I say that a lot?
You said it so many times. It's
Shit.
great.
Cool.
So now we've got the rapid 10 fire questions. We'll go Pete, Andrew, Paul.
Are you ready?
Whatever.
Where's the one place in the world you'd like to travel to or explore?
You don't have to say it fast.
Yeah,
Do I have to answer fast?
It's more pressure.
Yeah.
I was pressured then. I was like,
I'd just go Australia.
oh.
That's how boring it is.
Antarctica.
I want to go back to Bali.
Yeah. If you could travel to Mars knowing you could not come home, would you go, Peter?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm coming. Can you dance, Peter?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Can you?
Well, we've done ballroom dancing.
Fuck, of
Motherfucker.
course.
We've done a whole year of
Can you-
training.
Would you like to demonstrate?
Yeah,
I'll be the
no.
woman. This would be amazing.
Next.
No.
No.
12 times 12. First one in.
144.
Oh, and the counts last!
No,
He
we've
didn't even get
discussed
it!
this. He needs spreadsheets.
He needs an Excel spreadsheet.
What
for
sport or activity do you wish you could do, Peter, or will you do in the future?
that. Wish I could do.
Yes.
I love gymnastics.
You've
but I
already
can't
done
do
it.
That. Yeah, I know, but
So
I.
one sport you haven't done.
Haven't
one
done.
sport I haven't done. Oh, it'd probably be in something to do with skiing or something like that. I guess. Something to do with. You know the single board thing.
Oh, snowboarding.
Snowboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go into that. I don't know whether it's a sport. But
Get you a
yeah.
new knee first, brother.
Yeah, but I'd love to be able to do that.
I
Yeah.
want to hear Lang's answer.
Funnily enough, it's gymnastics. I don't think I could ever
I
do
would
it.
fucking pay for whoever wants to
And
teach you gymnastics.
I know.
We know a guy.
I am curious to know if I could do it.
I'm curious to know if you can do it.
Yeah,
What
if
you
you know a
doing?
guy, I actually looked a couple of years ago to see if there was like
A
adult
couple
classes.
of years ago, you weren't scoring 385 with your mobility, mate.
I know a guy.
He knows the guy.
Yeah, hook us up.
But
Yeah, I'll do it.
there's things you can do with a strong body in gymnastics, sure.
Yeah.
Don't have to be bouncing. Yep.
I want
In
to-
that two-person gymnastics, there's always the guy on the bottom who's
Yeah.
holding the acrobat.
Yeah, that would be
know?
lame.
You and Polly can do it.
Fuck yeah. What are you doing, Paulie? What do you want to do?
I'd really like to try powerlifting one day.
Heck.
I'd-
yeah.
I'd-
I've been trying to get you to a comp forever, bro.
Backslap you.
I'd just like to lift something heavy one day.
Pete, you're given an elephant at 5:24 today. For the next 24 hours, I need it returned 5:24 tomorrow. What are you going to do with this elephant?
Oh, ride it. Yeah,
Cool.
that's it.
What are you doing with it, Lang?
Can I cook it?
If you like. Yeah. You can do whatever you want with
Earn
it.
it.
I want it back.
I'll return some.
Yeah, fair call. Cooked?
Some of it, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wonder what elephant tastes like.
That's kind of why I asked.
You guys are really creepy. really, really.
What are you doing, DP? What do you want to do with your elephant?
Set it free. Set it
Doc Paul.
free.
Don't call him TP.
No, DP.
Yeah, don't. That means a totally different thing in another world, right?
Yeah, right.
What does that mean, Brando?
Yeah, Brando, what is...
Double penetration.
Oh,
Oh, wow, you just went there, didn't you?
I didn't know that.
Did you?
No, he's still DP though. Anyway,
I think we... Yeah, okay.
And Paul's
what are you
like,
doing with
oh,
the
cool,
elephant?
cool, cool.
I set it free.
Set it free. Oh.
Yeah. Take it to the park.
Describe your life in one word, Pete.
Fun.
Busy.
Exciting.
Favourite sporting memory of yourself, Peter?
Yeah, I think it's early days of gymnastics. Yep.
Anything particular?
Oh, under 19 champion was
the
Queensland
state, no big
champion.
deal.
Yeah, that was it.
That's it.
That
How
was
old
it.
were you?
15.
That's right.
Fucking legend. Then he run the tryouts.
Jesus.
Lang.
Could this be like during training or?
Anything.
Any sporting memory, brother?
When I first squat 380.
Yeah.
was a good
That
day.
was straight up the best night of my life.
Except for getting married and having your
No,
child.
straight up. Actually, no, I lie. When I first squat 300, that was probably the best.
I told him to grow a beard. He grew a beard. He scored a 300.
Because we tried like 2 or 3 times,
He didn't have a beard.
and it was just a.
No, you didn't.
We
You
only
don't need to say
peaked
more.
the squat.
The beard says everything.
yeah, I grew a beard and I squat 300.
Now he's a bearded gnome.
I can't think of any that aren't disgusting and disgraceful. So
No, we want to hear this.
no, you're not.
Please divulge.
It's not happening.
Pete, how long's a piece of string?
See, Johnny just moves on because he knows.
Well, isn't it end to end? Isn't that how you
I
measure it?
don't know. Laing, what do you think?
4 inches.
Yeah, it just is.
It is, yeah. What's the last piece of music you listened to, Peter?
Something from the 70s.
Elvis Presley, probably.
Yeah, something like that. I think it might be in Carpenters.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. It's
Rob's a carpenter.
you have to be very special to enjoy the Carpenters, but I did.
Laing, what's the last piece of music you listened to?
On the way here, I was listening to No Sleep Till Brisbane by the Amity Affliction.
Yeah.
You're an angry man.
Yeah. And the Magic Flute on the way here.
Lovely.
It's ironic.
Magic Flute.
Well, that's done.
That's
Done.
it.
Legends.
Oh.
Thank you so much again for your time.
We'll do it in 6 months.
We'll do it in 6 months. Get a
Get an up
post-COVID.
post-COVID.
The
And
post.
then we'll, hopefully by then get Peter to divulge his stories. Look at that smile. He's got him.
In the meantime, you can try and look up the
really
Hansard.
You got to count.
Johnny's done. He's just like, oh, can we just...
It's time to deadlift.
I will put where you can find them all in the show notes. Legends, thank you so much. And clap on 3, 2, 1.